The man who lived two lives. He introduced himself with a quiet smile, helped strangers on the side of the road, played music in dimly lit rooms at night, and behind that ordinary face, an entire family vanished without warning. This is not the story of a monster hiding in the shadows. It is the story of a man hiding in plain sight. In true crime, we often look for warning signs, patterns, red flags, behavior that feels out of place. But some cases refuse to offer those comforts. Some offenders do not stand out. They do not escalate in obvious ways. They do not leave behind a trail that makes sense in hindsight. They simply move through the world, unnoticed. Tonight on Case Black, we examine a case that unsettled investigators not because of what they found, but because of how long they found nothing at all. This is the man who lived two lives. The late 1950s in the United States were defined by predictability. Families drove long highways without fear. Strangers offered help without suspicion. Trust was assumed, not earned. It was an era before constant surveillance, before DNA databases, before the idea that danger could appear so quietly. And it was the perfect environment for someone who wanted to disappear. While doing unimaginable harm, Melvin David Reese understood this world instinctively. He did not dominate rooms. He did not attract attention. He did not challenge authority. He drifted from state to state, from job to job, from one temporary identity to another. To some, he was a piano player. To others, a polite traveler. To his family, a difficult but non-violent son. No one saw the full picture, because no one ever saw him stay long enough. On June 26, 1957, Margaret Harold was driving near Annapolis, Maryland. Her car stalled on a quiet stretch of road. At the time, stopping to help a stranded motorist was normal, expected, safe. A man pulled over and offered assistance. He was calm, soft-spoken, patient. Margaret accepted the help. What happened next shattered the illusion of safety that defined the era. Margaret was shot. Her body was later found, and evidence showed she had been sexually assaulted after death. There were no witnesses, no license plate numbers, no suspect. The man who had approached her vanished back into the flow of traffic. Police documented the case, collected what little evidence they could, and waited. But no one came forward, and without a name, the investigation stalled. The first crack in the mask went unnoticed. After 1957, nothing appeared to happen. No similar crimes, no pattern investigators could identify, and that absence of activity became part of the danger. Reese did not rush. He did not escalate publicly. He waited. He traveled. He changed names. He remained forgettable. This was not impulsive violence. It was controlled, calculated, and deeply patient. On January 11, 1959, the Jackson family was driving home near Fredericksburg, Virginia. Carol Jackson was behind the wheel. His wife Mildred sat beside him. In the back seat were their daughters, Susan, 5 years old, and Janet, only 18 months old. At some point during the drive, they encountered a stranger. We do not know exactly what was said. We do not know how trust was established. What we do know is that their car was later found abandoned on the roadside. At first, police suspected a breakdown or accident. Then the hours passed, then the days, and the situation became something far worse. The first body discovered was Carol Jackson. He had been shot execution style. There were no signs of struggle. Then investigators found Janet, the infant, then Mildred, and finally Susan. Each discovery added another layer of horror. This was not random violence. This was methodical. The killer controlled the situation from start to finish. The crime shocked the nation. An entire family erased during an ordinary drive. Law enforcement faced a nightmare scenario. There was no suspect description that mattered. No known enemies. No financial motive. The Jacksons were an ordinary family, which meant the danger was not personal. It was opportunistic. Investigators began to realize the killer was someone who moved through public spaces with ease. Someone comfortable approaching strangers. Someone who left nothing behind. The press demanded answers. Police had none. As months passed, investigators began connecting the dots. Highways, roadside encounters, transient movement. This was likely not someone tied to one location. This was someone who lived between places. A man who existed only temporarily in each town. A man living two lives. During this same period, Melvin Reese continued his routine. He worked when necessary, played music when he could, stayed with family occasionally. He did not brag. He did not confess. He did not need to. His greatest weapon was invisibility. Friends later described him as odd but harmless, which is often the most dangerous description of all. In June 1960, Reese was arrested in West Memphis, Arkansas, on an unrelated matter. At first, it seemed insignificant. Then investigators searched his parents' home, Hidden away, they found a locked box. Inside was evidence that changed everything. A revolver, notes describing violent fantasies, items investigators recognized from past crime scenes. Ballistics testing connected the weapon directly to the Jackson family murders. The ghost finally had a name. Once Reese was in custody, investigators re-examined unsolved cases. Margaret Harold's murder resurfaced. Witness descriptions matched. Evidence aligned. For the first time, the isolated crimes formed a timeline. A pattern had existed all along. It was simply hidden behind movement and time. Reese's trials were clinical. There were no dramatic outbursts, no emotional confessions. He sat quietly. The gun, the timelines, the travel records. Jurors were not asked to imagine violence. They were shown it, carefully, respectfully, fact by fact. Reese was convicted. The death sentence was handed down, later commuted to life imprisonment. Justice, in a legal sense, was served. But understanding was not. Reese never explained himself. He did not write letters. He did not give interviews. He did not confess to additional crimes. Investigators suspected more victims, but suspicion is not proof. And without cooperation, many questions remained unanswered. What disturbed investigators most was not the brutality. It was the normalcy. Reese did not appear broken. He did not appear desperate. He functioned. He adapted. He lived alongside others without detection, which raised a troubling reality. How many people are capable of this level of compartmentalization? And how many are never caught? Melvin Reese died in prison in 1995. There was no final statement, no confession, no apology, only silence. For the families of the victims, closure remained incomplete. For investigators, the file was closed, but the case was not finished. This is not a story about fear. It is a story about assumptions, about how safety is often built on familiarity, and how familiarity can be false. The most dangerous individuals are not always the loudest. Sometimes they are the quiet ones who pass through your life unnoticed. If a man can live 2 lives without anyone noticing, how many others have already done the same?